Our top focus this morning, also the breaking news that is coming in. Iran has fired at least 10 missiles on 2 US bases in Iraq that are currently housing American troops. Pentagon has confirmed the attack on US bases and said it will take all necessary measures to protect US personnel in Iraq. Meanwhile, the White House said that President Trump has been briefed on the attack and is closely monitoring the situation with his national security advisors. So what we do know so far is that 9 missiles, and these are confirmed reports, 9 missiles have hit Iraqi bases where US troops were housing. Tejinder joins us for more on this. Tejinder, what we are getting, what we do know so far is that there are multiple bases, at least 2 bases where US troops were housing have been attacked by Iranian forces. Get us more on that and more on the details as far as what is the US reaction that's coming in right now.
See, this is the fresh attack on the Ain al-Assad air base by the pro-Tehran sections in Iraq. What we have come to know that 9 rockets have hit the Iraq base housing US troops. This is the international news agencies which are based in Tehran and in Iraq. They have told that 9 rockets have hit the bases that are housing US troops there. Iran had threatened that they will be launching a crushing response if US launches a fresh attack. All this escalation started after last week when the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani was killed in a US-led drone attack in Baghdad airport. So after that, there has been escalation in the West Asia, wherein the US President Donald Trump had earlier warned that
Ray Locker also joining us now. I'd like... Ray Locker joining us now on Republic TV. Thank you for joining us. Initial reports suggest that there are no casualties as far as the US side is concerned, but casualties have been confirmed from the Iraqi side. Can you please tell us what could be the consequences of this and how do you see a US retaliation to this attack?
Well, I think given the fact that we killed General Soleimani last week without any clear provocation, I think the chances of retaliation are pretty good. It's interesting that there are no reported casualties from the U.S. side. That to me is an indication that perhaps the Iranians calculated that when they decided to launch the missiles. So I guess in some way that's encouraging, but to believe that this is the end of it, I think would be naive.
This would be end of it, would be now naive, as you rightly pointed out. We are hearing of movement of US Air Force right now over Iraq. At the same time, what we are also getting confirmed reports is that President Trump is in a situation control room and monitoring the movements and situation very closely. What do you expect? How do you expect the US to retaliate to this? Do you expect a sudden retaliation, or do you think that US is going to get back on this, thinking about the long-term consequences?
Well, I think anybody who does not want to see an escalation of conflict would hope that we would find a different way to respond. I don't think that's likely. I think there will be some kind of military response. Perhaps, the launching of some cruise missiles at some sites inside Iran that would show intent, but perhaps not cause great damage. I don't think there's an appetite here in either country for an extended war. And now it's the time for folks on both sides to look for a way out.
Right, both sides would like to, as you rightly pointed out, both sides would like to take a look at way out from this current escalation that's going on between Iran and US. But hours before the US bases in Iraq were attacked, US President Donald Trump had spoken to reporters saying US is fully prepared for any aggression by Iran and that Soleimani was a monster who deserved to die. Remember, as we speak right now, Trump, with his security advisors, is monitoring the situation very closely. But first up, listen to this bite.
So I think we've done a fantastic job, but eventually we want to be able to let Iraq run its own affairs, and that's very important. So at some point we want to get out, but this isn't the right point. The other thing is, if we do get out, we've spent a tremendous amount of money on building airports and building, it's one of the largest embassies we have in the world, Mike, and we want to be reimbursed for the various costs that we have had, and they're very significant, but we'll work something out. And I talk sanctions, but I'm only talking sanctions if we're not treated with respect. We have to be treated with respect. With what we did with ISIS, and this was done during my administration, because it was a mess before we got here. With what we did with ISIS, we've done the Middle East and we've done a lot of other countries a tremendous favor.
Those are the first visuals of the Iran attack on 2 US bases in Iraq, but the Trump administration has asserted that Soleimani was plotting to kill American diplomats and soldiers in significant numbers, thereby defending the US assassination of the Iranian general.
U.S. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien has defended the drone strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani and the intelligence on which the Trump administration says the operation was based.
What evidence does the administration have that there was going to be an imminent threat, as the president has claimed?
Well, strong evidence and strong intelligence, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to get into sources and methods at this time, but I can tell you it was very strong.
The Trump administration has asserted that Soleimani was plotting to kill American diplomats and soldiers in large and significant numbers.
You did say that he was planning on killing American diplomats.
He was plotting to kill to attack American facilities, and diplomats, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines were located at those facilities. Correct.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also staunchly defended the targeted killing of Iran's general.
We know what happened at the end of last year in December, ultimately leading to the death of an American. So if you're looking for imminence, you need to look no further than the days that led up to the strike that was taken against Soleimani. And then you, in addition to that, have what we could clearly see were continuing efforts on behalf of this terrorist to build out a network of campaign activities that were going to lead potentially to the death of many more Americans. It was the right decision. We got it right. The Department of Defense did excellent work, and the president had a entirely legal, appropriate, and a basis, as well as a decision that fit perfectly within our strategy and how to counter the threat the malign activity from Iran more broadly.
Pompeo, however, insisted that the United States will be consistent with the international rule of law when it comes to the potential future Iranian targets and will not attack cultural sites. Bureau Report, Republic TV.